Here's a puzzle. The animal in the field is a cow. The meat on your plate is beef. The animal is a pig. The meat is pork. Same farm, same dinner. Why does English do this? The answer is hiding in plain sight. English isn't really one language. It's three languages, standing on each other's shoulders, wearing a very long trench coat. Welcome to How Languages Work, the channel about the history, the rules, and the tricks behind every language on Earth. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where English got its words, why it has three words for everything, and why its spelling is like that. Let's open the coat. Layer 1. The Germanic backbone. Every language has a skeleton, and the skeleton of English is Old English. Around the year 450, Germanic tribes, the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, crossed the North Sea into Britain. Their language, Old English, looked nothing like today's English. Beowulf, its most famous poem, needs a full translation for modern readers. But Old English never left. It survives as the core of the language: hand, house, bread, water, sun, moon, day, night, love, eat, drink, sleep. The words of everyday life. Here's the number that matters. Of the 100 most common English words, the, of, and to, almost every single one comes from Old English or Old Norse, and those 100 little words make up about half of everything ever written in English. So when people say English is a Germanic language, this is what they mean: the grammar, the structure, and the words you can't speak 5 seconds without, all Germanic. But wait, before the coat gets its next layer, someone slashes it open: the Vikings. From the year 865, Norse armies conquered and then settled a huge part of England, a region called the Danelaw. Old English and Old Norse were cousins, close enough that neighbors could half understand each other, so the two languages simply merged. Norse gave English its everyday words: sky, egg, knife, window, husband, anger, and most words that start with SK, like skin, skull, and skirt. In fact, shirt and skirt began as the same garment. One word English, one word Norse. And here's something languages almost never do. English borrowed its pronouns. They, them, and their are Norse. When a language swaps out its own pronouns, you know the two peoples truly lived side by side. Layer 2. French. The year is 1066, and everything is about to change. William, Duke of Normandy, wins the Battle of Hastings, and French becomes the language of power in England. For roughly the next 3 centuries, kings, courts, and castles speak French, while the countryside keeps speaking English. This is where our cow becomes beef. The English-speaking farmer raised the cow, the pig, the sheep. The French-speaking lord ate the beef, the pork, the mutton. Scholars estimate that around 10,000 French words entered English in this period, words of law, government, fashion, art, and food, and roughly 3/4 of them are still in use today. That's why English so often has 2 registers, a plain word and a fancy one: ask and question, help and assist, freedom and liberty. The plain word is usually Old English. The polished one is French. For about 150 years, English almost vanished from official writing. When it climbed back, in the age of Chaucer, it was transformed, still Germanic at heart, but dressed head to toe in French. Layer 3. Latin. The language of church, science, and school. Latin actually arrived in waves. First with Christian missionaries, words like angel, priest, and school. Then massively during the Renaissance, when scholars imported thousands of terms for science and new ideas. This is the layer of education, including the word education itself: science, medicine, formula, data, genius. When English needed words for new knowledge, it reached for Latin, with Greek right beside it. And this created English's famous 3-step staircase. Ask is Old English, question is French, interrogate is Latin, same idea. 3 floors of formality: kingly, royal, regal, fear, terror, trepidation. 3 languages, 1 trench coat. Let's put numbers on the coat. A famous computer survey of 80,000 dictionary words found that about 28% of English vocabulary comes from French, another 28% from Latin, about 25% from Germanic languages, and around 5% from Greek. So by the dictionary, English is majority Romance. But by what you actually say, those 100 little words that carry half of speech, it's overwhelmingly Germanic. Both facts are true at the same time. That's the trick of the coat. So, what does all of this mean for you, the language learner? 3 very practical things. 1. If you speak Spanish or French, you already know thousands of English words. Nation, important, decision, possible. They came from your side of the family. Use them shamelessly. 2. English spelling is chaotic because it's an archaeology site. Night, debt, island, these aren't broken words. They're fossils from different layers, so learn words in chunks, not letter by letter. 3. When you're choosing between a plain word and a formal one, remember the staircase. Germanic words feel warm and direct. French and Latin words feel formal and precise. Choose on purpose. So, a Germanic skeleton, a Norse lining, a French wardrobe, and a Latin library. That's English, 3 languages in a trench coat, plus a Viking hiding in the sleeve. If you enjoyed this, subscribe, because next time we answer this: why can you understand a language but not speak it yet? Sources for every claim are in the description. See you in the next one.